Hey everybody, so this first video I'm going to talk to you about is how to establish retail value on your home. We all want to know what our home is worth and what upgrades or maintenance we need to do to maintain that value or get to that value. So I'm going to just start with a kind of a brief overview on how to get there and what that's going to look like and who you need to have on your side to help you really establish true value on your house. So the first thing is going to be to connect with a seasoned agent to provide comps for your property. In Texas, we are a non-disclosure state, which means that when a house sells, Texas only releases a range, and it's about a $40,000 range that house could have sold in. So when Zillow and Trulia and other sites like that are pulling the data from your neighborhood, they're taking an average of those ranges. And sometimes the range is on the low end, and sometimes it's on the high end. And so Zillow and Trulia and websites and the like are not valuable in establishing value in Texas. Now, they're wonderful for tons of other things, but when it comes to actual value of your house, the Zestimate is wrong. So you need to start with a seasoned agent and get comps on your home. I have attached some links to some really incredible local agents in this area that can help you and really talk through that. When you're looking at a map and pulling the comps in your neighborhood, you do not want to cross any major streets or boulevards or highways. And so when you're looking at Google Maps, you can see where your neighborhood is and where it kind of changes over. And so even in the area that we live in, there are houses that are 3-bedroom, 2-bath in these two sections of the neighborhood, and then there's other houses on the other side of this main road that are like 4- and 5-bedroom, 2, 3.5-bath houses. And so we can't compare them. They're not apples to apples. And so even though we're all in the same neighborhood, we are not the same type of houses. So it's really important to take note of that. The comps that are pulled should be within a few hundred square feet of your house. So if your house is 1,500 square feet, you should be pulling about 1,300 to about 1,700 or so, just to make sure that you're in the right range and you're not comparing your house to a house that's too big or a house that's too small. You want to be as close as possible to the bedroom bathroom count as you can, including the lot size, the lot location, the year built, the type of house it is. You really want to get as close as you possibly can. And if there are changes, like if you can only find 4 bedrooms and you have a 3-bedroom, then you need to adjust your price down for that lack of a bedroom, even if the square footage is the same. So you do have to consider that type of stuff when you're looking at the comps. Other things to consider are you comparing your house to a yard that has a fence and maybe you don't? Does this house that you're looking at back up to a busy road? Or does it have mature or non-existent landscaping? Those are the other types of things you have to consider when you're comparing your house to others. So it's either your house has more desirable features that the house you're comparing to doesn't, or the house you're comparing to has more desirable features than yours does. Either way, there needs to be a price adjustment. Then you're going to take the average of about the top 5 houses recently sold in the neighborhood. So recently sold is considered like the last 6 months. So you can't say last year, you can't say 2 years ago. It's not the same market, and it's not a fair assessment of the true value, current value of your home. So you want to also be making sure that the houses that you're looking at to kind of get that average, that they sold in a reasonable amount of time. So if your house is valued at $250,000 or less, we're talking 60 days or better on a sale price, because those houses in this area don't take that long to sell. So if you're looking at houses that sold and it is 90 days, 150 days, 200 days on the market, you don't want to compare your house to that, because something's going on there and you don't want your house to be sitting on the market for that long. So then once you've kind of figured that out and gotten an average price per square foot for the houses in your neighborhood and multiplied that by the square footage of your house, that is going to be your after repair value or your retail value. But you also have to make sure that you know what finishes those houses that sold have compared to yours. So the finishes that you need to compare include floors, countertops, fixtures, doors, windows, paint, trim, all kinds of stuff like that you see that people are upgrading kitchens all the time, bathrooms, floors, things like that. You have to look at that Because if the houses that sold for, let's say the average is $200,000, if the house is sold for $200,000 but they all had granite and engineered hardwood floors and you still have linoleum floors and basic countertops, that's not the same. So you're either going to have to do a price adjustment or you're going to have to do work on the house. If your house does not match those finishes, you have to adjust the price accordingly. So just like we have to adjust prices for the location of your lot, bedroom number, bathroom number, you also have to do an adjustment based off of the finishes in your house compared to the ones that sold. Because if those houses sold at $200,000 and they had all these upgrades, then you need to make sure that you've got those upgrades too. So if you want to drive that higher price, it may cost you some money to get there. But just remember, when you're renovating, don't cut corners and don't over-renovate. Be sure to compare your house to the others. And if they're doing granite, you do granite. Don't do some crazy, fancy something marble and expect to get more out of it if the rest of your neighborhood is saying that they've got granite. So really make sure that you take the time to compare your house to the others and what true finishes drive that price. And then when you're looking it all over, what is your net profit going to be? So if you do all this work and then you sell your house for $200,000, how much are you really going to walk away with versus how much would you need to discount your house for to just go ahead and sell it now? Compare that time, compare that money, compare the cost of holding your house because you're still going to have to pay the mortgage, the taxes, the utilities. You got to think about all those things and all the costs that are associated with renovating a house. Now, if you're not looking to sell right now, cool, no problem. If you just want to do those upgrades, I still recommend the same thing. But if you are trying to sell, it is worth it to take a look at what your net is going to be if you do the work and what your net's going to be if you don't do the work. If you have any questions or comments, please do so below. I would love to talk to you and hear your feedback, your questions, your ideas. And I am really excited to continue on with this. So next we're going to be talking about some of those really awesome upgrades that you can do in your home. Thanks so much for joining me today.